Hey guys, it's Jennifer Wilson, your guide at Simple Scrapper. Welcome back to the Great Stash Bash. In this video, we're going to talk all about subscription kits. How do you corral that pile of bags and boxes that seems to accumulate faster than you can scrapbook, despite how much you love the supplies? We'll talk about whether or not you should break them apart or keep them together, and some of my best strategies for corralling all of those supplies. Let's get started. First, I'd like to talk about short-term storage of subscription kits. Now, what I have here are 4 different Project Life kits. I have 2 here from Studio Calico and 2 here from Citrus Twist. And you can see nowadays they come in very similar packaging. A lot of companies are moving to this more durable packaging because the customers like it a lot, and it just makes it that much easier to keep everything contained. So what I recommend, and this is scalable to the regular size kit as well, it's just easier to show you in this small size, is keeping these upright in some sort of basket. And I have my larger kits in a large basket on the floor. And these are just my smaller kits here in this basket that fits on my tabletop. And I like this because it keeps them where I can see them. I know what I have to access, and I can easily just pull something out when I'm ready to create with it. And this is short-term storage. This is what you received most recently and what you want to create with next. You don't want to have this huge stockpile that makes it difficult to choose what to start with. You want to have maybe say no more than 5 kits kind of at the ready. And when you get to have more than that in your stockpile, that's when we need to have conversations about what to do next. And that's really the focus of this video. But for short-term storage, I recommend keeping them standing if you can in their original packaging, if it's something a little bit durable, or transferring to something durable like this, and keeping it close at hand. All right, next I want to talk about intentional kit busting, and that's when you're not ready to break apart your kits, but you really have too many in your stockpile, and it's starting to get a little bit overwhelming. So what I recommend is creating micro kits from your bigger kits. And what those are individual collections of supplies for a single page. And I will link my video on micro kits down below, but we'll do an example here. And the reason I recommend that is that you can go through and say, okay, I'm going to make a micro kit from each of these 3 kits, or maybe you're going to make 2 from each kit. And you can intentionally sit down and say, okay, here are 3 or 6 layouts that I'm going to make. These are the supplies. And you can have that purpose in mind and say, okay, here are all the layouts. And then you make those. And then you can go through for a whole nother round. So for me, intentional kit busting is this idea that you're going to sit down and I'm going to create specific things with each kit. Now, you don't necessarily have to create a micro kit in advance, but I actually find it easier to select supplies for my layout in advance so that I'm not making too many choices in the moment when it comes to my layouts. All right, so I'm going to pull everything here out of this kit, and we're just going to talk real briefly about how I would go about making a micro kit. So what that would look like would be a piece of cardstock. So let's just say we're going to take the gray one here. And then I would pick, say, maybe 2 to 3 sheets of pattern paper. So we'll take, these are all very pretty. We'll take that heart one there, and then we're just going to actually take that. So take that overlay. So put the rest aside. So we have cardstock, piece of pattern paper. Let's see what's on the other side. Oh, a nice stripe on the back. So that's really 2 sheets and this overlay. I think that's going to be really pretty and really striking. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet. And then I will go from here and start looking at some of my embellishments. So I've got some stickers here, letter stickers. And so I know I'm going to use, let's say, these small letter stickers and these acrylic embellishments. This is going to be very bright and colorful. And then, let's see, maybe this stamp. So it really depends on the size of your kit. You know, this kit's actually not very large, so your micro kit really could be the whole kit, yet just broken down into a smaller number of pattern papers. And if your kit has a huge number of embellishments, that's when you're really going to want to focus and say, okay, these are the 3 to 5, but more likely 2 to 3 items that I know for sure that I want to use on my page. And then I just put everything back in with the rest of the kit. And it doesn't mean I can't choose from that when I'm going to create. This is just my starting point. And it helps me kind of feel creatively focused when I sit down and know that I have narrowed it down and I've made some decisions before I'm ready to scrapbook. Okay, so you've gone through and you've made a couple intentional rounds of kit busting, and you've gone through, you've made a bunch of layouts, and you finally feel it is really time to break up these kits. And I'm going to put this into 3 different phases. So phase 1 I call the paper and bucket phase. And all this is where you take all of the embellishments from your kits and you put these in a bucket. You put these in a basket, you just keep them separate, and you're just trying to separate the paper from everything else. Okay, so here's my pattern papers and everything from that previous kit. So that one's done. Now I'm going to open up another one. And so what you're doing here is putting everything into 2 different piles. All right, so here I have my pattern papers, and the next phase would then to be separate between pattern papers and cardstock, and these can be easily put away. You know where those go. But when it comes to the embellishments, that's a little bit different, and so that's why I don't recommend going ahead and putting them straight away, because you don't even know if you like these things. That's, you know, that's kind of both the pro and con of a kit, is that you could end up with some things that maybe you don't really like. And I recommend creating this bucket, and maybe this choice of basket here is actually a little small, but I recommend keeping things in this bucket and then maybe creating from this for a little bit. Create 1 or 2 pages, giving you a chance to start rifling through all of these things. And then phase 2 would then be to do a declutter of this embellishment bin. So let's just say we've got all this pattern paper put away. All right, so here's all of our pattern paper. I'm going to file this away in my proper organization structure. I know where it goes. And then I've got these embellishments. Phase 2 is then to go through and declutter and figure out, okay, this, maybe I don't like this. I'm never going to use this, so I'm going to give this away. This tag, I'm not sure what I'd ever do with that. And to just walk through and figure out what items you would just never use. And the reason we do that is because there's no reason to put stuff away that you're never going to use. And that would then leave you for phase 3, which would be supplies that you like that you can then put away. All right, so just to recap, we've got paper and bucket. So divide your kit into paper and then all of your embellishments, and put your embellishments in a bucket. And then think about making 1, 2, 3 layouts from this bucket. It's kind of like your special embellishment stash. And as you do that, you're going to start to see things that really you're attracted to and things that you're going to end up, you know, passing over. And from there, you can say, okay, I'm going to part with these because they're just not for me, and that's okay. But here's what I have left, and I'm going to go ahead and put these away. And this could be just, you know, a week, 2-week process, but it gives you time to work with your supplies and make really good decisions so you're only putting away things that you love. Your challenge is to determine your next step for your subscription kits. Is it a short-term storage location? Is it intentional kit busting? Or is it breaking up your kits using the 3 phases that I described? Before you go, make sure to enter our giveaway for a seat in Refresh. Refresh is our 7-day online scrapbooking retreat designed to help you start fresh in memory keeping each and every season. The next session is coming up in April. To win a seat, simply leave a comment on this video sharing your progress in using up, decluttering, or organizing your stash of scrapbook supplies.
You may optionally include a link to a blog post, Instagram post, or YouTube video where you're sharing this progress with others. You must be registered for the Great Stash Bash to be eligible. Please check the description box for the registration link and the deadline to enter the giveaway.